Hey, it's your girl, Pastor Angela Johnson, Angela Johnson, no, Angela Smith. It's your girl, Pastor Angela Smith. Of course, we are one sister to another, one sister to a brother, one sister to another podcast, and we are live on all of your social media platforms. Welcome, 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 welcome. Welcome to every last one of you all, every last one of you all today. Welcome to our show. Our show, this is the finale of course, minding your own business. This is the finale. I told y'all to tell somebody, to tell somebody, to tell somebody. Yep, you need to tell somebody, to tell somebody, to tell some more bodies to get in today and tune in to, of course, One Sister to Another podcast. But I want you all to do a couple of things for me. Will you please? First of all, I want you to make sure you're saying hello to everybody on our Facebook pages, on our, of course, Instagram pages. But particularly, I need you to go out there and like. Will you go out there and like, of course, none other than at Avant page right there on YouTube. Like you not like the YouTube, but I need you to subscribe to at Avant Music. Subscribe to at Avant Music, and then of course you'll get alerted when we come on. Listen, welcome everybody to the studio. Welcome everybody to the room. Of course, my guest today is gonna set it off by way of, I call it by way of legacy. Y'all know what a legacy is, right? It's something you leave that will mark what you've done in this life, what you're gonna, and even when you're gone, what'll continue to go forth. And so, of course, he's gonna be my guest today. I'll let y'all know who he is in just a minute, but check this out. Make sure you're going out there to my One Sister to Another Facebook page, One Sister to Another Instagram, and of course, go ahead and like all those pages, and you are able to, of course, chime in with us every single Saturday. Before we go any further, will you all make sure that you're giving we're giving some shout outs today to none other than Janaya and Latanya Huron. Of course, her daughter was in a little challenge, and of course, we're praying her through. And so I want to make sure that you all know that we're the kind of group can stop what we're doing and we can pray. Okay, listen, One Sister to Another podcast. We're out here, we're in here today, and we're doing the finale. Oh, we're doing the finale on finances, of course. And we've got, come on, y'all, bring them in the room. We've got, drum roll, please. None other than, of course, our friend David Posey. David is in the room. David Posley Jr. Am I
Yes,
saying that
ma'am.
right?
Yes,
David
ma'am. Yes,
Posley
ma'am.
Jr. And of course, Dave, I could read your amazing bio, but you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to
Uh-huh.
have you to share who you are.
Okay.
First of all, welcome to our space. Welcome to minding your own business. Of course, preparation. Of course, making sure that we got our coins in the right place at the right time and we're making them do what they're supposed to do. Here's what I love, Dave. I
Mm.
love being able to share with people that if we're not causing our coins, our money to continue
Mhm.
to multiply, then
Yeah.
what do we have it for? So I've got the ultimate for you, but the first thing I want you to do is I want you to share, Dave. Welcome,
Mm.
first of all. If I didn't say that, I'm saying it now. Welcome
Yeah.
to One Sister to Another podcast. Will you go ahead and share with our viewers, our listeners today, who you are and what you do? And then I've got an ultimate question for you.
Got you. Thank you. First of all, thank you so much for having me, Pastor. I'm extremely excited to not only come on this platform, but be the finale to really wrap up this minding your business series that you have had for your audience. I'm again David Wayne Posley Jr. First of all, a child of God. I'm a husband, a father of four. I have spent the better part of my life really trying to understand how to help athletes transition their wealth or transition their wealth to the next generation. And I took on that calling when I met God at the age of 7. And so that's taken me through the wealth management industry. I grew up in a financial services family where we own all state agencies, as well as took me through as a profession, a basketball career where I played and it paid for my schooling. as well as been through a digital asset broker and manager, so helping to introduce the fintech industry to the broader community, and finally led me to finding to become a legacy advisor. And a legacy advisor takes all of my experiences, all of the capital, all the assets that a family has to enhance their family, enhance the assets, and then ultimately position themselves to prepare to pass that on to the next generation. Because my goal is to buck the trend of what is called in the US shirt sleeves to shirt sleeves by third generations. Ultimately, that's saying 90% of the wealth that has been created in families is lost by third generation. So we spend so much time building wealth, growing wealth, but not necessarily understanding how do we preserve this so that way our kids and their kids still enjoy the fruits of the benefits of the fruits that we've created in our lifetime.
Wow, Dave, what an amazing introduction. Even you got my whole my wheels are turning right now.
Okay.
And so of course one of the things I really truly love about this platform and about the folks who help us to carry one sister to another is every last one of them in some way are look, I call them wealth people, because of
Okay.
course they bring a wealth of knowledge to what we do. Watch this.
Okay.
So the reason why you're here today is, I don't know if she's on or not, Maite, of course, Johnson, my
Mhm.
co-host, who, of course, we're giving shouts out to her today because I believe she was caring for someone who lost one of her family members, as a
Yeah.
matter of fact.
Mhm.
So we're praying for them. But one of the things she always starts these types of shows off with is this ultimate question. Dave, is cash still king? Last week I asked, was cash still a cow? But anyway, is cash still king?
um, I'll say yes and no, right? Because yes, because it's always good to be liquid, right? Because liquid is what allows you to take advantage of any investment opportunities, be there for any emergency situations, and it ultimately makes you feel good, right? But it's not because there's an onslaught, right, on cash in our community, in our world, right, as we're moving more towards a digital economy. So I'll say we're in the transition of that ideal, maybe not being existing for our kids, right? For my kids, I have young kids. And so for today, if you have cash or you're liquid, or I'll say liquid, meaning you have access, you can liquidate any investments that's to cash to take advantage of an opportunity, to take advantage of real estate when it's priced for you, and to take advantage of the stock market when it's down, then now you're in a position of power. You're in a position to be a king, right? Leveraging that cash. But with the economy that we're living in, with especially with what the BRICS are doing, with Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa is doing, and changing things up, moving towards a digital currency, cash may not even be in existence in the next 20 to 30 years.
My God, my God. So you're saying cash as we know it today may not be in existence. But I want you to talk to us today about
Okay.
what will. And okay, so what kind of currency will, and what are we going to be able to do with that? That's what the real ultimate is. Okay, if the coin is not going to
Uh-huh.
be of any value,
Okay.
if the
Uh-huh.
dollar they're saying is not of any value, baby, something
Mhm.
is going to make this thing move. It's going to make us be able to buy and sell. Come on. So what is that going to look like? Go ahead, Dave.
So, yeah, so you said so something's gonna make us be able to buy and sell. And so I'm gonna answer that question in two parts, right? Because I want to answer in the perspective of legacy, right, and our focus
So
and where to invest, and then secondarily into the economy. So I'll start first with the economy. About 5 years ago, so wow, 2017, 2018, I'll say I did a barnstorm tour of ringing a bell, telling people, hey, buy $1 worth of Bitcoin. Why I wanted people to do that at that time was to help them experience that the language of money was changing, right? So that when you buy $1 worth of Bitcoin, you're going to get X amount of Satoshis, right? And so essentially, instead of there being two numbers behind the decimal point as we're used to with cents, right? You have 10 cents, 50 cents, 30 cents. There's only two decimal points. With Bitcoin or what digital currency, there it could be up to eight decimals, right, behind it. right? And so what that helps to do is to really allow for interest rates, right? Or banks to have negative interest rates, like different things that allow them to essentially play with our money, right? Program money, design money, right? And if we think about when the for those who receive them, the economic impact payments, they were done directly. Like not everybody received a check, right? So there was a direct deposit. So 92% of the world's money is digital, right? And so those three different things. The language of money is changing. How you transfer and deposit money is now not necessarily done via a hard check. And money is already 92% of the world's money is already digital. And essentially, that's what China, Russia, Brazil, that group is called BRICS, BRICS, that block of countries. They're looking to move the world to more of a digital currency, right? As but first it looks like now less reliant upon the dollar, right? So less reliant upon the dollar first, the first step, right? But then now you look two, three steps ahead, you'll learn China is one of the leading countries in creating digital money, digital cash, paying with your phone, paying with Apple Pay, like all those things. That isn't necessarily cash. That's digital money when you pay with your Apple Pay, right? So just think to yourself, how often do you carry cash versus having your phone and paying? So that's why I use the term, you ask me is cash is king, I use liquid, right? Are you liquid? Being able to leverage something easily, right? As opposed to just having cash in your pocket. And so the other way I'll look at that is, well, like I said, from the legacy perspective, and what we'll get into later, my role, my purpose is to help us to look at what's actually king in our lives is the human capital, the people, our health, the engagement of our family is really king, because the more um, educated, the more empowered, the more purpose living that those people are, you'll always be able to create, whether it's cash, create value, create currency, be able to exchange the information to learn about it. You'll be able to have the person that you know that's in China be able to send your information, right? You'll be able to exchange the information to position not only you, but your family to acquire whatever assets are necessary using whatever currency is necessary based on the knowledge and the interaction and the family unit that you've created.
And so, Dave, and so you're giving us so much information.
Hmm.
One of the viewers today said, "Digital currency is pure evil. We will be slaves. Help us, Jesus Christ." Now,
Hmm.
I don't believe that, not at all. And you know what?
Hmm.
And forgive me because I don't bat a hype about
Yes.
almost nothing. Right? As a
Okay.
matter of fact, nothing. But I want you to talk to us. I want you to give us, because they told us that they were sharing with me, and as I was kind of watching, stalking your pages, watching what you do.
Hmm.
I noticed that you're very organized. I want you to tell us,
Okay.
yeah,
Okay.
I want you to tell us step one, step two, maybe four steps that we should be doing right now that is going to set us up for this next wave of financial stability that we're going to need. Because, like tomorrow, my baby,
Hmm.
tomorrow has, of course, Trayla, who is, of course, I don't know if
Hmm.
Trayla's done with college, but Trayla and her husband are college, they're educators. And so now they're going to set things up for their kids, right? My children are already out of high
Hmm.
school. How do I
Hmm.
best set things in motion, stable wise, financial wise, investing wise,
Okay. Hmm.
legacy wise, that are going to help
Hmm.
my grandchildren as well? Give us step one and step four, if we can do it that way.
Um, so I'm gonna do it very what they say, promotional. Step one
That'll be
is
good.
reach out to set up a legacy checklist.
Wonderful.
Take my
Wonderful. Do
email,
that.
advisor at thelegacyathlete.com. Advisor with an E, ADVISER. Advisor at thelegacyathlete.com. Reach out and just share, hey, I want to set up a legacy checklist, right? So that would be step two. We spend 45 minutes within our legacy checklist, helping to define the 10 different forms of capital for each family, right? Because
That's
now
good.
once you've had that definition, of those 10 different forms, now you can catalog them. You can enhance, see where your gaps are. Do I even have any forms of capital in these different sections? Third, then I would say, hey, take that back to your family and see, all right, where are we at, right? What do we have? Do everybody understand what this is? Do a little education to that next generation. And then fourth, again, this is so unlike me, I would call me back and do a legacy profile, right? So what the legacy profile does, the legacy profile starts to now give you actionable steps, right? It helps you to focus
That's
all
good.
those different tens and forms of capital in the manner of like, what is my priorities, right? What am I need to work on? What am I working on? And then put some one specific actionable step to each one of those. So now you can start to, within that family unit, build collaboration, right? Build consensus and start to articulate to that next generation what it is that you have, what it is that you're working on, and then identify what other advisors do you need in order to help you develop in those areas. Because again, I'll go back to the point of it's in you, it's in your family. Those are the tools. Those are the assets that not only builds wealth, but helps you to mitigate the loss of wealth, right? Because the economy, taxes, all those things are going to change over 100, 150 years, right? We may go back to bartering in 150 years with actual cows and milk or rocks or stones. But the family unit, the history, the structure, the mission, the values that has been created within that legacy will be empowered in 150 years to go about and be successful no matter what the terms of that economy looks like.
So the word on the street is empowerment. Hold on for 1 second.
Mhm,
There was a young lady. I deleted some of your comments, sister. I think it was Miss Dan. Miss Dan says, "Angela, you're food. You ain't reading the Book of Revelations. I am reading the Book of Revelations, but I am a woman who believes that we should read, not just read the surface of a thing, but we should go a little
mhm,
bit deeper. What I will say is this too. Dave, today you are
mhm,
again putting meat on our brains today. You're
mhm,
revelatory today.
mhm,
And of course, I don't want anybody to think that I'm kicking against the pricks of the
mhm,
Bible. I'm not doing
mhm,
that at all. I realize that there's some things that are happening in that would foretold in the word of God that are unfolding right now. But I tell you this, the one thing that needs to unfold too is we need to keep people on
mhm,
these streets like you, Dave, that are
mhm.
willing to give us the unadulterated truth in
Right.
reference to what we need to do. Now, I heard you say a word, focus. I had to deal with that as a
Okay.
sidebar. I heard you say the word focus.
And so can you pin that? Because I want to address the digital currency stuff, but just real quickly, if that's okay with you. Because I know
Okay,
you.
please deal with it. Go.
All right.
Take your
So
time.
digital currency. I want people. It could be evil if we not aware of what its purpose,
Say
right?
that
If
again.
it can be evil if we are not aware of its purpose, right? If you are going to blindly put your information out there, if you're going to blindly be susceptible to the digital world, then now you will be controlled and used by it. So we develop a product called the digital asset audit, right? The digital asset audit is meant to help people and understand what's all of the accounts that they have that have a username or password for, right? Because you have a digital footprint. It comes up when you go to Starbucks and use your rewards card. It comes up when you have rewards points at any place. It comes up when you log into Facebook or when you go to your health club and you have a digital signature identifying that you've been there and you have built level of repoints or value based on your participation. So all of those data points can be used by marketers, by corporations for your benefit or for your demise.
Your demise.
And so
Mhm.
take yeah, so take all of this as an understanding that we live in a digital world. If we have a smartphone and we go anywhere, it is tracking everywhere we've been, how long we're there, where we're going. And so that perspective is based on who's using it, can use it for evil, right? But if you are aware and now you know how to mitigate those actions, mitigate what's going on, mitigate the interactions to your advantage. Now you're operating with your eyes wide open. So we have the digital asset audit that helps you to capture entire digital footprint. Whether you use TurboTax for your taxes, you have Bitcoin or cryptocurrency or any programmable money such as a CBDC, the central bank digital currency that's I would say in 10 years we'll all be engaging in, right? So if you have any of those engagements, be aware of what your digital footprint is. Do a digital asset audit. If you need one, again, email us at advisor@thelegacyathlete.com and we walk you through over a year to find every single username, password, digital asset that you have, because there's a law. If you pass and you don't explicitly in a will or trust identify a representative to access your Facebook account, your StreamYard, your Cash App, etc., that person who's accessing that just because they had your password and they wasn't given explicit acknowledgement to access it, they're committing a crime.
Wow.
Right? They're committing a crime because we sign end user agreements, license agreements with each technology company that we engage in individually. None of them are for your family or others. So they need to be given explicit representation rights to access those on your behalf in a trust or will, not just written on paper, in a legal document via a trust and or will in some cases to access those accounts. So yes, digital currency can be used for evil if you are not aware of how to mitigate those practices and operate with your eyes wide open.
Now, did y'all hear what he just said? So I'm gonna need y'all who trying to come for your girl. Don't come for me unless I send for you. Okay, I've got an amazing question that somebody is asking. What are the types of capital that we
Mhm.
can build upon? And give us some examples, please.
All right, so this you diving
Take
into
your
to the
time now.
bad. Well, I mean,
This
we
is the
generally
master.
put. You're right. You generally have to sit down with us, pay that initial
And
fee.
that's fine. That's fine.
So high level, very high level. So we break up, and this will answer that in the question is how we explain legacy, right? And so that's how we segment it. So legacy, we break it up to two major tenets, right? One is internal based, right? Internal based legacy. So that's the I portion. That's the impact. That's all the experiences, events that have occurred that you've left your mark on the world, right? And so we break that into six forms of capital: self capital, right? Your overall health, right? Spiritual capital, your religious beliefs, right? And your purpose, how you follow God, what's your calling. Human capital, who your family members and your team, like your infrastructure. So the people that you need to get something done, who you're operating with. Then it's social capital. What's your target audience? Your consumer. Who do you engage with? Who are you building something for? Then the last two is instructional capital. Your ability to teach, right? How do you impact, whether it's through e-learning, one-on-one workshops, podcasts, seminars? And then lastly, intellectual capital. What is all the information that you know and preferably that you can get from the people in your human capital to enhance your knowledge? So your access to this platform is you building your intellectual capital, right? So that's the I portion. That's the internal based legacy. And then we do the more modern version of legacy. That's the equity based legacy. So that's the external, or what people call it the quantitative, right? So though that is the cash, the public securities, the all those different things, the stocks, bonds, things, property, essentially that you can pass down for the benefit of future generations or beneficiaries. So that's broken up into four different forms of capital. First one, that one everybody knows, financial capital. Cash, again, that's what cash: investments, public securities, bonds, insurance, etc. Real estate for an investment purpose, so like housing or owning multi properties, um, multi properties. Second one is commercial capital. So that's the business model that you use in order to create and sell goods and services. Then we have natural capital. So that's like the hard land, when you own the land that you can fit your feet on and you put your toes in, and or what you use with raw materials. So if you, it's even best when you own the land that you can grow the food, farming, and then engage in that to sell it through your commercial capital. And then finally, is public capital. So that's leveraging all the public government or the government programs, whether that's selling and doing business with the government incentives such as TIFs, enterprise zones, um, as well as any other grants that are able out there that the government provides for you. So those are the 10 forms of capital that we look to leverage and identify under the brand of legacy.
You know what? One of the things I will say is that you make it hard for a sister or a brother to just stay on this side of the thing and not totally cross over, call you, sit down, have a consultation. Because when I tell you, you just share so much, I'm like, dang, can you please slow down? But you know what? That's what this platform is about. Well, our premise is to make sure that we're sharing folks like you with the folks that are watching today, and that we'll get a total understanding. And if we don't get an understanding out here, and we can't in an hour, we want to make sure that we're sharing with our folks, of course, your information and how they can connect with you. And so, of course, you've been sharing it through the whole program, and so we're loving it. Listen at this. Sandra Small says, I don't like Cash App. I have a negative balance of
Mm.
500. She said she got a negative balance of $500. How do I get that off? Because I can't use my Cash App. They trying to charge me.
uh, that's something that I'm not gonna dive deep into because I'm
Okay.
not gonna promote Cash
Okay,
App
you're
or
not gonna.
Square.
Okay, not a problem. Not a problem. So listen to this. So Sandra, what we think you should do is definitely you should connect with, of course, Dave Posley, and make sure that you get maybe an answer that way, and help him. Maybe he can help you to maybe leverage in a different direction, right? And so they won't
Mhm.
be able to get over on her anymore. It's just a known fact that they do what they do. And I'm like
So
you. I'm not
so
getting ready
so
to
I,
smoke them because they ain't
so
giving
I
up nothing.
exactly. So I'll make it plug in here. We're actually developed a prototype for our own wallet called the My Family Office wallet. And so essentially what it'll allow you
Come
to
on,
do,
Dave.
what it allow you to do is aggregate all of these forms of assets that you have, whether it's your coupons, discount cards, rewards points, cash, security, anything that has a cash value, and be able to get a recommendation for every purchasing or distribution decision that you make. So some people go and you have multiple credit cards, multiple rewards points, and you may be going to a hotel or buying some shoes, and or you got a family friend discount for a place, and you are not thinking of gathering all those different assets that can be leveraged at one particular purchase, right? And so our app is allowing you to catalog all that information at any point of purchase, whether it's a business, whether it's some shoes or a building. You're able to leverage everything that can be used in that purchase and be given the option to execute it or not. And so we're looking to we'll be we're in the we have already have the prototype, we already have the demo, but we're looking to get the MVP out by the end of this year.
Oh my God. Dave, tell us this. And so, man, I hear a wealth of wisdom down on the inside of you. And so I want you to share, where do you believe
Mhm.
this fire came from to make sure that not just, I'm sure you deal with every type of culture and not just
Mhm.
Black
Yeah,
people, but at
absolutely.
the end of the day, you are for our African American culture, right? Tell
Yes,
us,
ma'am.
how do you, where did this fire come from, and why did you have such a hunger to move us from our now to our next, in reference to legacy, in reference to finances and things of this nature?
I can say it as clearly as possible. When I was 7, when I met God, I asked Him to come into my life. As Jesus come into my life and was baptized, He gave me this vision of building a facility for athletes to transition. So now my understanding of athletes are like Nike said, any person with an able body, and the Bible says someone who plays within the rules and has a short-term success. And so that's why we take it the legacy athlete. So we take the legacy, the long-term look of a legacy mixed with the short-term success and someone who plays within the rules of athlete, and now put those together and really help to engage people, leaders, business owners, families, ultimately in a manner with information needed to surpass the loss, right? Because one, I know in as an African American, and I look to focus really on the diaspora, so that's any part of African descent, is we can't afford to lose anything,
Say it
right?
again. Say
Like
it
we
again.
can't
No
afford
more.
to lose nothing, right? I grew up when I was selling insurance. I would go into people's houses and they wouldn't even want to tell their kids, or like, yeah, I just want enough for them to bury me, right? We wouldn't even want to pass down a couple $1,000s, right? When you do engage, when I went to school in California with families and other cultures who will sacrifice their lifestyle for the betterment of the future generations. So when you have that just complete disconnect and like opposites perspectives on the next generation, there's so much work to do, and I sacrificed so much of my younger years to be in this position, so the rest of my life I can speak and consult and advise and coach from a place of authority, so that way the world that we transition and give to our kids and their grandkids doesn't look like the what we inherited. The culture doesn't look the same way, because I grew up with a father who was very intentional about building a business and creating generational wealth, right? So I didn't have the privy of that ill or that disease minded thinking, right? He worked hard and made sure that I would inherit something that can
Totally.
continue to fulfill the lifestyle that I would want and my kids. And so I want to pass down that thinking to the broader generation and better. So God placed me here and gave me my assignment and gave me the parents and the family that I had that would instill the certain things in the certain access to information that I have. And there, like you also actually are know my auntie Eloise Spencer through her best friend, Pastor
Wow.
Tracy Brim. Yeah,
Yes.
and
Yes.
so
You
so
come from good stock, man.
I,
Oh
yeah,
my
so
God, I'm so blessed to know this.
yeah, so that's giving
Dave.
honor to God and my family for that.
Oh, totally. Listen at this. Maite is saying this is good. So shouts out to you, Maite. My co is watching with us. Listen, Beverly Wall says just what you said, Dave. She says we can't afford to lose another thing. Listen at
Mm,
this. I want you to share with us. Uh, uh, and so I'm watching a lot of negative comments, of course, about cars, about the Cash App and all this stuff. So
gotcha.
Kim
Okay.
Coleman says, I never had Cash App or anything
Mm,
dealing with a card. She said, I
gotcha.
just don't trust it with
Hmm.
everything people are trying to scam you. But Dave,
Hmm.
I want you to talk to us just a little bit, if you will. Talk to us about how we can change this narrative. Okay. Are we saying that we don't want to use any type of credit card
Hmm.
that you know what I'm saying, or we just want to go to using the digital cash, the digital way of moving money from
Hmm.
one spot to the next? I want you to tell us, as the legacy man in this building, in this room today,
Hmm.
tell us what we should be doing. What would you like? How would you, if you were in a virtual space with us right now, and there
Hmm.
was about 5,000 of us, right,
Yep.
who are
Hmm.
listening, what would you leave us with? Talk to us. You got a few minutes. Talk to us about where you want us to start, and
Hmm.
what would you leave us with today?
Okay. So what and I only do this, and like I said, because I'm very conscious about promoting anything. So
Okay.
um when I mentioned Cash App or Cars Rewards Point initially, it was only to engage a simple place, whether that's Coinbase or any other of these platforms that allow
That's
you
good.
to buy. Robinhood, even one that's been in the news, right? Buy $1 worth of Bitcoin so that way you can be informed, right? Because Bitcoin isn't easily accessible in places, right? And so, like, and I hate using this cliche, but the Bible says people perish for the lack of
There's
knowledge, right? So when you aren't informed about what's happening, what's oncoming, and you're so caught up in the day to day operating in fear, because that's what everybody say. I'm scared. I'm fearful. All this thing. So when you know you're talking, thank Holy Spirit. When you know you're speaking and saying that first, you're probably doing the wrong thing. You're probably speaking and operating from the wrong space, and you're most likely blocking yourself from whether that's a blessing, from that's a breakthrough, from whether that's new information, because you're operating in fear, right? So that's a simple way and a simple personal assessment to say, hey, I'm probably not doing what I'm supposed to do if I'm saying I'm scared. I'm probably not doing what I'm supposed to if I'm saying I'm fearful of what may happen, right? So with that, and if you're getting scammed, again, reach out to whether that's a advisor or to me and my team. Say, hey, this doesn't sound right. This doesn't look good, and then we will within reason help you to discern what's the best decision from there. So I know 100% of the people on here has something digital. 100%. Like that, I can say that with a guarantee. You have 100% on digital. Why? Because you're on this platform. 100%. Solely just from there, right? So if you're off the grid, only using cash, maybe even only using gold, we wouldn't even be talking to you. You wouldn't be interacting in the world around you today, right? So if you're using a debit card, credit card, those are one of the first forms of the transition to the digital economy. An ATM machine, first transition in the 50s to the digital economy. Banking, the banking system that we operate in operates from an IOU perspective. They do not have 100% of the money that every account says that they are owed on a digital screen. It's not in cash at that bank. So you're operating in a digital economy now. You're just the one of the last ones to get up to the front of the line of leveraging how to execute that. Case in point, my assistant was telling me I'm flying to South Africa to speak, and she was like, "Hey, make sure you are able to purchase that flight so that way you can leverage the points from that as opposed to the group that's bringing you there." So those little things, because those points that will be the payment which will be reimbursed, now I can leverage those points for maybe another flight someplace or a purchasing a room or a hotel. So any of those things are much better suited for me to leverage my assets, my digital footprint for my benefit, right? And so there is some skepticism. Skepticism is healthy, and so what you know what you do when you have healthy skepticism, or you're risk averse and you want to risk mitigate. You get people who know what they're doing. You find reputable sources. You do your own research. You do the thing called due diligence to now make an informed decision and not sit with analysis paralysis or fear to move forward, because whether we like it or not, like I say, to back to your first question, I feel like who has the gold makes all the rules, right? That's kind of a thing that I use. We don't own all the gold, we don't have all the cash, so we not king nor making the rules. So there are people who does have the majority of gold, who does have the majority of cash, and they're making these rules. And so it's up to us to operate with a level of expertise and a mastery to be able to engage to for us to better position our families and our futures.
Dave, my team in the back, and they are not here today. They're out of town. Big J, who is our big producer, and of course, my executive producer, Tamara Woodard. They are saying you are doing some kind of teaching up in this piece today. Listen at this. Beverly Wall says, so good to see someone represent and teach on such wonderful topics. And then Kim Coleman says, I literally just saw an ad that money is going to be wiped out. Of course, you talked about this. Money is going to be wiped out and it will not no longer be available to us. And what they want us to have will be controlled by the government. Nevertheless, Dave, you are sharing here today that
Mhm.
we just got to make some right choices. We've got to make some right choices. And so I'm loving it. What we want to make sure we shout out as well is, listen, you guys, if we are not able to answer all of your questions, of course, with our guest, David Posley today, Jr., don't worry. We are going to make sure that you know how to get in touch with him. There is his advisor at thelegacyathlete.com. Advisor at thelegacyathlete.com is how you can get them. Dave, again, at the end of the day, it really is about giving us wisdoms that are going to be beyond our own years, but also causing. So tell us this,
Mhm.
Dave, because our young folks, our teenagers, or really
Hmm.
before our teenage years, when they're in grammar school, we should be influencing them. Okay,
Hmm.
so you got a group of, see, I'm smarter than a fifth grade. You got a
Okay.
group of fifth to eighth graders in your presence. What would
Hmm.
you teach them and their parents right now?
So almost the exact same thing. So I coach, and I have a program called the Legacy Club, that starts at the age of seventh grade, and it's elite athletes that we work with to help them what we call go up the mountain, right? And our onboarding for them is the same legacy checklist that we onboard a CEO of a company or of a family, right? It's helping to expose them to each one of those forms of capital, because now I used to say the more buckets that you have open, even though it's only maybe $1 in the bucket, now you're forced to learn about, be aware of, research about that bucket, right? And understand what's going on within that bucket. And here's more of a standard thing is, something I learned more recently, by a guy who's a sixth generation lawyer, works in this private client space. He said, "Hey, have leveraged grandparents and grandkids to work together on philanthropy, right? Being able to engage in giving and understanding the process of giving." He said, at 6 years old, some kids can advocate for their for causes that they want to give to,
That's so
right?
true.
So it's if you want to look at it, two things. One, I'm going to always promote, because within our checklist, you'll learn about what's your causes, what do you like, what interests you, all those things. And so from there, then now we can advise you and your parents, you and your grandparents, how best to work together to execute maybe on the three that's at a lower priority for you, so that way they can, you can be better informed, you can be better engaged. And how do you do that research and actually in practicality engage to develop and enhance that? Because again, the ultimate job of a family to preserve wealth is the enhancement of the lives of the future generations, right? So that is, and for a nugget, wealth is a derivative of a term meaning well-being, right? Wealth is a derivative of a term meaning well-being, right? So what we're talking about in these legacy and the legacy definition, these different forms of capital, is helping you to comprehensively build a better well-being within you and your family. And then now this is a template for you to find different information if you're a proactive person, or engage with us to continue to get advisory and retain us to help you, hold you accountable to the development of that, until there's time for you to add more to that or create a legacy plan.
Create a legacy plan. And so, of course, when we're dealing with the legacy group, your company,
Mhm,
right? Um,
mhm,
is your company for everybody? I mean, sometimes people are very afraid to connect with
mhm.
folks like you because they think you all charge the most money. Talk to us just a little bit about why we should,
Mhm,
of course, finally make that quality decision and connect with
mhm.
you right now. And then I want you to share with people how they can connect with you. How
Got
they
you.
come.
So,
We also want you to share how they can invite you to great spaces, small
yeah,
spaces, virtual
yep,
or in person, to come and talk to men, come and talk to
yep,
teenagers, come and talk to high schoolers, and come and
mhm,
talk to folks at their churches, women and men.
yep.
Talk to us
Mhm.
about that.
So, first, I was just listening to this. Someone shared this video with me about discipline, from a motivational speaker, and they were just saying about decisions, right? Good decisions, quality decisions, hold you at a standard where people have to make better decisions about you, right? And so from a pricing, right? If you know that you're paying a premium for something, you know you're getting the information to position you to live a more premium lifestyle, right? If you make bad decisions, right, now you make yourself, or a bargain price, now you position yourself to be where people make bad decisions about you, right? So we've developed with our legacy coaching step, which is where we started. Is it's not necessarily cheap, but cost is relative, right? So what's cheap for some person could be expensive for another, right? So we do have our legacy coaching program that is built to do where we intro and help explain and coach and develop and create immersive experiences, create educational resources, do things such as this to come on and expose people prior to them wanting to be and engage us as a legacy advisor, right? Because again, like our legacy advisor services is not is a four figures and up, right? And from what you pay for. So
Okay.
I'm not afraid to say we charge for our legacy advisor, but we do legacy coaching, right? Which is more of education intro opportunities for people to learn about these things, to get an intro, to be start to open up their minds and to build the habits there. And then our middle service, our legacy brokerage. That's where we help families be made aware on how to buy businesses, right? How to buy real estate and be able to engage in that actual transaction where you can buy a franchise, where you now are able to go directly into the practical engagement of, all right, I've been thinking about building this business or buying a business, or I've been thinking about selling my business, right? That's where we engage in that space, or buying insurance, any of those transactions where you don't necessarily need the ongoing advisory to develop, but you want us to help you articulate a transaction, make a purchasing decision. That's where we work with families or business owners or young people there, because you can buy a business for much less than people think, right? Especially with SBA, the Small Business Administration, different engaging. If you have a plan, going into your families and doing that. And that's one of the things we help in the advisory space, help families build their own family bank so that they can then be the person that helps to give and loan the money to future generations to do entrepreneurship work or acquire businesses. And so definitely engage us. For everyone, we have a 45-minute introductory called the Legacy Checklist, right? And because of that, because of what you said, we're going to do a 50% off for anybody who puts in the subject the One Sister to Another show, right?
Hey.
50% off for anybody who puts in the subject One Sister to Another, or you mentioned that this is where you heard about it at you will have a 50% off of our 45-minute 30 to 45-minute legacy checklist introductory, where you'll be able to hear, ask questions, and get defined those forms of capital, and help to get examples based on what you and your family have, or some recommendations on how you can build that and enhance your family lives within there.
So of course,
Secondarily,
go. Go.
then secondarily, for coming to speak into any church, family, podcast, etc. And God is literally on my heart to educate, and to educate. And so in there, whatever it is, whatever the family, whatever the circumstance, especially if it's like this, and Pastor knows what that fee was, and so free. So if it's a virtual a podcast to help to expand and expand in interaction, feel free, because like this is my mission, this is my calling, to not only educate the community, educate that we need to focus on better family relationships, building the assets of the family, meaning the actual my kids, my siblings, my cousins, all those people help to put me in a better position as far as wealth, because now I'm wealthy when I can actually call on all my family members and engage them and get them as a masterminding group, and get them as, because they love you inherently, right? And so we're so focused on just our immediate families, but I want to see families build and grow into tribes, like we had the tribes of Judah and tribe of Manasseh, tribe of Benjamin, like back in Abraham's descendants, right? We need to get back to that space and that perspective. And so if you want me to come out, please email advisor advisor with advisor at thelegacyathlete.com, or you can reach out to me on any of my personal handles at DW Posley Jr., both on Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. DW Posley Jr., Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. If you want me to come out and speak regarding legacy, generational wealth, buying a business, selling a business, building a franchise, licensing a business, any of those things that help to grow your wealth and have something to pass down to your kids.
My God, the legacy athlete. Come on, y'all. Y'all can get him at advisor at thelegacyathlete.com. Listen, he's willing, they're willing to hold our hand and walk us right to where we need to be, that door, that thresh that we really need to be talking about crossing over. I got to give some shouts out right now to our, of course, Big J, and of course, Tamara Woodard. And also, my engineer today has been my own creative trailer law. And they're saying, David, on behalf of the One Sister to Another team, thank you. All information, of course, y'all, is at the bottom of the screen. Avant R&B singer is also saying that, man, some of the information that you've shared here today has been absolutely priceless. Y'all, One Sister to Another, the podcast, we're out here every Saturday. This was our finale. And Dave, without a shadow of a doubt, you actually finale, man, you were more than we could ever even imagine. And so we thank God so much for you. We're looking so forward. We're praying that you're gonna say you will be willing to come back. We're gonna create some spaces for you. Yes, we are. Before said you did it for her. I know you did it for me. You got me thinking about stuff differently. Listen, of course, One Sister to Another, with a podcast, with a show, go ahead, Dave.
Thelegacyathlete.com is our website. You can subscribe. You can contact us there. If you don't want to do email, you can go to thelegacyathlete.com, get some general information about us, the legacy broker, coach, and advisor, those different processes. Thelegacyathlete.com. You can definitely go there and reach out, contact us to get some information as well. So
beautiful, beautiful. Listen at this. Before we go today, we got to give a shout out. Happy retirement to our sister, our friend, none other than Tammy Ackerley. She said, keep sharing the information, Dave. And I'm going to tell you something. She's very authentic, very wise woman. And if she say keep sharing, that means you must be talking about something that's worth listening to. My take saying, wealth of knowledge, Dave. We appreciate y'all today. We went about a minute over. We didn't mean to, but it was worth it. Listen, One Sister to Another podcast with a show with information, inspiration, and godly revelation. Before we go, we want to make sure if you all are looking to bring on folks that we've had from our Minding Your Own Business series, like David Posley, of course, all y'all got to do is email us at ONESISTER, the number 2, ANOTHERPR@gmail.com. I love y'all. Today is a gift from God. What you do today is your gift back to him. God bless. We'll see you on next week.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.